Good evening, everyone. I think we're live now. We are streaming. Yes, everybody got your streams up. Streams are up. We're on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Everybody, welcome to another edition of Battling Bad Brokers and Unpaid Freight Invoices with NOAA Fraud Prevention, John Cantera, the director of
First of the
NOAA.
year.
Yeah, first one of the year. Now, director of NOAA Dispatch Division, Caitlin Price, and of course myself, head of corporate debt collections, Jennifer Cressman, here to bring you another exciting edition of all the junk we've had to put up with for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Um,
And Santa has been extra nice to us and put lots of coal in our stockings and given us lots of cases that we have to work on while everyone was down for the holidays.
I tell you, I don't think I had a down day one. Maybe Christmas I took off. I mean, Christmas I was off, but other than Christmas, I really wasn't down much of
No, neither was
holiday at
I.
all.
Neither
Um,
was I. And I think I only had one truck running as a dispatcher, one truck running between Christmas and New Year's. And I don't think I've been more busy than I was that week.
mhm.
It's been
I
insane.
can't get caught up. I'm just swamped, and I'm not even out soliciting right now. I just keep getting in more business, more business, more business. I mean, not a bad thing for me, but bad thing for the carriers out there not getting paid. So
And that is a huge, huge problem we're seeing out there right now. These carriers, whether it's carriers not getting paid on their invoices or it's carriers having been double brokered on, being swindled and not getting paid by the scammers, it is a bad situation right now, and it's not getting any better. The only thing that
yeah,
we're able to do is to at least help make sure carriers are getting what they are owed. Um, and at least we're keeping them going as a result. But guys, I got to tell you, you got to vet the brokers you're working with. If you get those funny little hairs on the back of your head standing up, then you probably need to think twice about what you're doing because they're coming up and they're biting everybody in the ass these days.
and if you're having troubles making sure that your loads aren't double brokered, or you're finding you're running into a lot of fraudulent brokers, reach out to me and utilize me as a resource to help you vet those brokers and carriers that are out there that you need help with. As we talked about before in NOAA, NOAA actually wasn't founded on the boycott of bad brokers. That's not actually what NOAA actually started on. NOAA actually started based on bad carriers and helping um, owner operators not lease on to bad carriers that were taking advantage of them or not paying them or whatever. And it's only because of the bad practices of some of these brokers out here, not all brokers, but some of them, that are causing us to have to crack down on some of the bad brokerisms out there. And now we're actually taking on the insurance is quite the scammy little thing these days. And actually we're introducing a new division of NOAA, the NCIS, not intentional, but it's the NOAA Carrier Insurance Solutions or Services, something like that. And we're self insured for NOAA members. So if you're a NOAA member, you can get some good rates on your insurance by joining www.tnooa.com. I think Caitlin has a story to share. She and I worked on something over the Christmas break while I was off at my agency. I was helping her quite a bit with these. So, Caitlin, do you want to lay down the background for this?
Yeah, so a carrier of mine had a driver leased on to him, and this driver was somebody that did not have his own authority, so he leased on to my carrier's authority and ran under his. And for the most part, he was pretty okay in the beginning. Um, he complained a lot, but he still did his job. So everything was kind of okay. Well, one day regular average day, I booked a couple loads, and the carrier, the driver, went to pick the loads up, and he was told when he got to the shipper that the loads were not ready and they wouldn't be ready till the next day, which is fine. So, but we never heard anything about getting a TONU or anything. So the driver went back home. He lived really close. He lived about an hour, maybe if that, away from the shipper. So he just came back the next day, picked up the one load, the first load, went and dropped it off, and then came back, picked up the second load, and then got a hold of myself and the owner when he was supposedly 5 minutes from the drop off, claiming that his truck had gone, there was something wrong with his truck and he couldn't move. So he claimed that his dad came out and looked at it and that his dad determined that the fuel pump was bad and needed to be replaced. So my client, the owner of the company that he was leased onto, has a security account for every driver. Basically, when you sign on to lease with him, you, over the course of, I think it comes out to like a total of 6 weeks, you put money into a security account that's used for insurance purposes only. If for whatever reason the driver is not able to pay their insurance, whether they just don't run or maybe their truck's down or whatever the case may be, maybe they don't have the money to cover their insurance. To prevent the owner from having to come out of pocket for the carrier's insurance, we keep a security account that is only for insurance. And that money is released to the carrier, the driver, if and when they terminate their contract. At that point, we have no use for it. Well, this guy demanded that the owner of the company give him his insurance money, his security money, to buy the parts for his truck. And the owner said, no, I can't do that. That's not what that's for. That's in case you aren't able to pay your insurance, you know? And who's to say that that guy wouldn't have taken that money and maybe even not fixed his truck and then never came back and still the guy would have had to pay for his insurance? Whatever. That can go a million different ways. So then the driver said, well, I'll see if I can have my brother come and pick up the load and deliver it the rest of the way. So we kind of wait on that. The owner or the driver's being a little weird at this point. He's kind of talking to us, but not talking to us. He's being just strange. So we find out from the receiver that that driver actually did deliver those loads. And we were able to verify that by then going back and looking at his ELD and seeing that he did, in fact, deliver the loads. So we just got the BOLs from the shipper who had them. And because the driver wouldn't give them to us, well, we had to factor them so that we were able to pay the driver. So we went to factor them, and the factory that the broker was claiming that we were not the carrier on the load. So we're like, okay, what's going on here? Well, after looking into it or doing some digging, we found out that the driver had called the broker on his own free will, spare time, whatever, and made several comments or claims or whatever you would call them about the company, that my client's company, who he was leased onto, and took someone else's MC, somebody else that he was trying to get leased onto, to have them switch over the loads. So the broker switches over the loads to the other authority, and we had to argue and fight with them like, no, he was under our lease agreement. Here's our contract.
Let me just interject for just a moment. So let's be clear here. They gave you rate cons for a load, and then you went to factor those loads, and the factoring company was told that your client was no longer on that load.
Yes.
Okay. So then you reached out to the broker to say what's going on, because we have these rate cons. And what happened then when you reached out to them?
I also kind of couldn't get a hold of them. So I tried reaching out to the broker who I booked the loads with, who oddly enough, I thought I'd worked with her a couple times, not a whole lot or anything, but a couple times, and she was really nice. And I thought, okay, this is kind of strange. Usually she's pretty friendly, and we've had a decent-ish working relationship up to this point. But I could not get her to answer me, and it was the strangest thing. I thought it was
So
so
I
weird.
so I jumped in. I was like on a Friday afternoon right before the holiday, and I emailed him and I called their after hours or whoever was still in the office and got a hold of him. And he's like, "Look, we can't. I can't give you any more information on the load than what I've given you." He said, "Let me find out what's going on with this. Our compliance manager's out until after the holiday, whatever it was, Tuesday or whatever." And he said, "We're not." I said, "Well, I just want to make sure you're not going to pay the wrong company." And he said, "Oh, don't worry, we're not going to pay anybody on this till we get this figured out." So that was my portion of it right there, and I just came back and updated Caitlin and her client and said, "Hey, look, at least they're not going to pay anybody. Timeout. We're on a timeout right now."
Right.
So then it was, I think, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, after the holiday, we reached out to the broker again, and they said, well, they were looking into this and they would get back to us the next day. Is that right, Caitlin? I was thinking it was the next day.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and so the next day they hadn't gotten back to us. So Caitlin said, "Should we call him?" And I said, "Yes." So we reached out. We called the gentleman. He actually got on the phone with us, and he was like, "I was just writing you an email. Um, we did give these to the carrier. The driver did call us and ask us to switch this to another MC number." Now, first of all, my immediate question was, why would you switch it to another MC number uh with the without confirming with the other broker, with the other dispatcher, whether or not they were going to haul the load. So, but that's totally a legality issue there. Like somebody should have gotten in a whole lot of trouble for that, as far as FMCSA goes, because they brokered a load to you guys, and without issuing a towing you or cancellation or an email, even to say you are no longer on this load, they actually brokered it to another carrier's MC number, and they actually had two people brokered to the same loads. And mind you, I will also add that this driver that was leased on to Caitlin's client was still under lease contract, which therefore meant he could not haul that load for anybody else either. So I just want to point that out there, that there was no way for him to carry that load under another MC number when he was still under lease contract with the original carrier. So there was a whole lot of things going on right there that just did not jive. Um, but ultimately, I think our result was the broker's attorney confirmed that yes, that should still be Caitlin's client's load. And they reverted everything back to her client, and he was able to get paid.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, at least it resolved itself properly.
Yes.
It's a shame that it had to go through that kind of a pain, though, to get there.
Yes.
And I want to say that being a dispatcher, I'm on the 99% of the time, I'm on the driver's side. I'm on the defense of the driver all the time, or the carrier or whatever. So lease agreements, in my opinion, I've looked at a whole bunch of them. I've seen a whole bunch of them, and people think that when certain things are in a lease agreement, it's meant to like screw them over in the long run, maybe, but it's protection for everybody. There are bad people on every side. There's bad drivers, carriers, brokers, whoever, dispatchers. We all know that. I mean, but honestly, the longer a lease agreement is, the more stuff that's in it, the better off you are.
Well, more things that are in it is indicative that this owner operator, this carrier, has already been through the gamut with several people. Because, as Caitlin can testify, this took this guy's lease agreement from 3 pages to 7 pages or something like that, by
Yeah.
adding in all of the things that needed to be addressed due to being messed over by this one driver. So just keep in mind, if you're a carrier that leases on owner operators or drivers to your MC, to make sure you vet them well, to make sure that you have things in your carrier agreement that outlines, what happens if there's fraud involved, or if they leave your company prior to a certain time, or whatever. Make sure that that's all in there, and that also if there's any collections or legal fees that are incurred, that they have to pay for that as well, because otherwise you wind up, holding the bag on a lot of it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of agreements in my time working as a dispatcher and also doing fraud prevention. And a lot of these agreements are woefully inadequate because they don't address a lot of the additional circumstances that can come up. Jennifer, you make an amazing point there about making sure that agreements address issues about fraud and remaining balances, et cetera, et cetera. Guys, this is really important stuff. Maybe as boring as anything in the world talking about contracts, but it's exceptionally important for your business.
Contracts are there to protect your business. They're there to protect the driver that's leasing onto you. It's there to outline the events so that when things get kind of hairy, you're not really wanting to speak to each other very nicely. You don't have to try to negotiate anything. It's all laid out right there, cut and dry. Look, if you leave prior to a certain time, you leave with a 50% deduction to your rate or whatever. If there's fraud involved, you leave with $0, because who knows, you may have to cover some kind of legal fee, or you may have to pay somebody else. Oh, we have a special guest in the house. Let's see who we got. Hey,
Hey,
Austin.
hello. Hello.
Happy New
He's
Year
got
to
his
you,
hat on.
boss.
You got your gloves.
You
You got
look
your
awful
gloves on too.
uncomfortable.
Happy New Year. I don't have my gloves on
He needs
today.
NOAA gloves to go with his NOAA hat.
I do need NOAA gloves. We're working on those things right now. Some NOAA gloves, and hopefully soon we'll have that available.
Hey, I need my hoodie.
The hoodies are a very hot item right now.
Heck, I could get a t-shirt.
T-shirts we have abundance of. We're actually going to have all of this stuff down in Florida and in Kentucky at Matt's. So I already the printer already started making all of this stuff. So if anyone is interested in getting any type of NOAA gear, we will have it available at Matt's and at the Florida Trucking Show, which is, I believe, February 24th and 25th. We'll also have these big stickers as well for the doors for trucks. If you're interested in something like that, we'll also have those as well. So I was just listening to what you guys were talking about, and of course, it is a very serious issue as far as fraud is concerned, and not being paid for moving loads. And we had an issue come up today with the FMCSA with one of our members who asked for help with a double brokered load, and the FMCSA basically responded back saying, in a nutshell, like, this is a financial issue, and that being the case, they are not concerned with it.
It's a civil issue.
Civil, basically. They said contact the authorities, pretty much. So the fight continues, and we think it's very important to get this information out to the public, get it out to everyone, so that they understand that if you are operating in this industry, and you are extending credit to individuals to facilitate the transport of freight, you're taking an incredible risk of not being paid, and you have no recourse. And one of the interesting things about this today was, and one of the thank you, whoever did that. One of the interesting things, I don't mean to butt into you guys' show. I know you have a serious topics to talk about here, and I'll just shut up. One of the interesting things about this is when we met with the White House supply chain disruptions task force, the woman, the nice lady who is in charge of that task force, asked me when I told her about this situation, right? This kind of situation right here. The first question she asked, very smart woman, the first question she asked was, when you run into a situation where you're not getting paid, what recourse do you have? And she was shocked to find out. When I told her none, she was very shocked to find that out. And someone else, one of our people, followed up with that. There is no, they were shocked to find out that there is no avenue to file a complaint and get your concerns addressed with the regulators. And this is a perfect example of what I was saying to these people at the White House. FMCSA's top investigative priority remains motor carriers who demonstrate life-threatening safety risks to the motoring public. Now look at that right there. What we've learned over the last few months, after many years of looking at the statistics, is the people that cause the issues on the highway are not truckers. The people that cause the issues on the highway are people driving cars. They're the problem. The truckers are actually safe. The cars that are driving in front of them, behind them, on the side of them, cutting them off, stopping short in front of them, these are the people that are hazards on the highway. So without a real regulator, we have serious issues here. And that is the reason why we have proposed an SRO, a self-regulatory body made up of industry stakeholders that basically regulates themselves in tandem with the FMCSA and the DOT. This would be able, we feel that something like this would be able to put an end to situations like this. So that is my 2 cents for today, and I will just sit back and listen. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you for your 2 cents. Would you like to change?
Would you like to change?
I'm sorry, John?
Would you like
would I like some change?
Change for the 2 cents?
You guys, I don't know, maybe yes. If you guys have some change you'd like to donate, I think I have an empty cup here. If you'd like to drop some change in there.
It's a Starbucks cup.
Yeah, this was this was my Christmas present. This is Starbucks cup. So it is not microwavable though. So I have to drink fast. As you can see, my office is a deep freezer. So it is very cold in here. So, but thank you all. And thank you for everything that you guys do. My good friend Caitlin there, who busts my chops on the weekend and make sure I am on point and staying on top of things. Thank you very much, Caitlin, Director of the Dispatch Division. And Jennifer, thank you as well. And John, of course, thank you for everything that you do. I have been getting a lot of questions about where is John Cantera in the NOAA Live shows. Everyone seems to want to know where you are. someone asked
Well,
me
yeah,
to,
I'll have to make some
I'll
work
have to
here.
make some work here.
yeah,
It's been
It's been
my schedule's been kind of
my
hectic for the last 3 years, but I'll carve out some more time so I can be on live more.
Jennifer's been covering for you. Just want to let you know.
And I have heard she has been doing a fantastic job, and I greatly appreciate it. You know, I feel so bad for my wife. You know, I put a lot of time and effort into my job, into NOAA, and God bless her. She was pretty much by herself for almost 10 years while I was active duty, constantly TDY deployed or whatnot. I've tried to do everything I can to spend as much time as possible with her, but God, this stuff is so damn important. We try to do what we can when we can, and there's just not enough of us out here to help all the carriers that need the help that they need. It's crazy. You should see my case list right now. My case list is very long, and it is a challenge every day trying to take care of these guys. But it's so rewarding when we finally are able to make sure they get paid.
Listen, brother, I agree, and this is a direct result of a regulator that is not interested in regulating financial matters. They're interested in basically nonsense. And you know, I said this the other day in a Twitter space. You know, the FMCSA is still in the testing stages. It is a new division of the government. It's only been around for about 20 years. The previous regulator was there for almost 100 years, the ICC. But because of scandal, fraud, political, backdoor deals, the ICC was dismantled. It started back in the late 70s, the mid 70s. And by the time the 90s came around, the ICC was basically a paper tiger. It had no teeth. So Clinton got rid of it. And then around 2000, we got the FMCSA. And this was all done by design. Let's get a regulator that's only interested in regulating truckers, so the fraud can run rampant and the money can be stolen. And it's just obvious. It's obvious, and this has been going on pretty much with no one questioning it for the last 20 plus years since the FMCSA has been in place. And I, for one, I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to continue to get ripped off. I'm not going to continue to allow some pencil neck, whatever, sitting behind a desk, take 40% of my money, or 50, 60, 70% of my money, or all of it. In the case of like TQL, a peanut fell on one of the pallets, so the $3,000 we owe you, you're not getting it. That this is what they do. And where do I go? Where do I go?
We laugh, but it's so true.
It is, the pallet shifted 3 inches this way, so we're going to file a complaint against you, and you're not getting paid. You know what I mean? And this is.
Oh, we're going to throw out the entire cargo. We're not going to give you the chance to buy it,
worth.
and you're going to pay for the entire cargo.
$79,000.
It's a joke, man. And what really bothers me is all of the pushback I get from so many different people and organizations telling me, you're a crybaby, you're a bitch. These are grown men talking to me. I just got off the phone with somebody that called me that from a prominent magazine. And he called me a crybaby and he called me a bitch. And I was offended, and it is what it is. This is what we deal with on a daily basis, because we're truckers, we have no rights. Like we have no right to speak out, you know what I mean, and to question the system. And I'm not going to have it. You can call me whatever you want. I'm not going to allow people to take money out of my loans. Um, Not like that anyway. Not unfair.
Well said. Well said. I think that that it's time that we just have to keep digging our heels in and standing up because they just keep every day they just keep knocking more down, and I'm afraid after seeing this little letter from the FMCSA here, I'm not sure in its entirety what I mean. The FMCSA's top investigative priority remains motor carriers, not brokers, motor carriers, who demonstrate life threatening safety risks to the motoring public. And investigative resources are primarily committed to situations involving the actual and potential loss of human life. Well, it's no wonder we're not regulating brokers. I mean, whose life are they, endangering? FMCSA cannot be party to civil financial disputes. It has no authority to guarantee payments, even if violations are discovered and enforced. Parties who have suffered an economic loss should consider options for pursuing civil and legal remedies entirely apart from any FMCSA action. We're not
John,
responsible.
what that John, what that basically means is you're going to stay busy, and you too,
Yes.
Jennifer.
You know,
And you know,
I don't like complaining about being busy, but it's because of this that we now exist, and we are getting the momentum, though. However, as an association, in dealing with these things, to the point that brokers who are complicit in wronging carriers are now scared of us, and that's the way they should be. We are turning into that SRO, and if that's what we got to do, damn it, that's what we got to do.
I mean, well said. I would like it to be on an official basis, and more good organizations and people getting on board and being involved. But this is obviously going to be a heavy lift and a long battle. And hey, it's worth it in my opinion. So we're going to continue to fight this battle. I will say that there are some people in government that agree with us, many of them in Washington that agree, and there are many that don't, that think things should stay exactly the way that they are. Um, and they basically call us bitches and crybabies. I'll be very
Well,
honest
they
with you.
can't say anything else bad about us because we're providing a quality service that actually makes a difference in the lives of carriers. That is the important part. And as long as we continue to do that, if the only thing they can call us are bitches, then shit, I'm a bitch. I don't give a damn.
And John, it's one of those things. It's like, farmers, many farmers don't complain about illegal immigrants because they can pick oranges for $2 an hour. You know what I mean? And uh, uh, someone else who is not an illegal immigrant would not do that for $2 an hour. And this is what they're looking to do to the trucking industry, and this is what they've been doing to it. Slowly but surely, that's what it's been brought to. We're basically migrant labor. Pretty much the same thing. Like we're carrying. You get a full trailer of merchandise to move for a shipper that's worth $250,000, $1 million, or $500,000, and you're moving this across the country for what, pennies, $1,800, $2,000 in some cases. You know what I mean? It's foolish. It's absolute ignorance, and unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's going to take a group effort. It's going to take a large number of people, much larger than what NOAA has, to fight it. It's going to take people standing up and saying, you know what? I had enough of this. I had enough of driving around in a $100,000+ rig and making pennies every week, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my insurance, pay my rent, pay my mortgage, buy my kids something nice for their birthday, save up for my retirement, save up for an emergency if I get hurt or sick. People can't even put new tires on their trucks, bro. I saw someone put a post in the group up like a month ago asking where they can finance new tires for their truck. This is pathetic. It's pathetic. It really is. This is stupid business, monkey business. And the good news is there's other parts of this industry that do not operate like this. If you look at, I'm not saying household goods is all that much better, but if you look at household goods, for instance, it doesn't operate like this. It operates more, I guess, civilly. You know what I mean? If that's a good way to put it. People who work in household goods do not wait 90 days to get paid. When you work in household goods, you don't have to pay someone to pay you. So you can get paid in a reasonable time span, so you can pay your insurance and pay your employees and pay, your fuel card and all that stuff. When you do a load in household goods, you get paid you get paid by the end of the day. You know what I mean? When that load gets delivered to that customer, you get your money. You know what I mean? So, household goods still operates the way that it did before 1980. You know what I mean? And it's just sad that property is in the state that it's in from a trucker's standpoint. Because if you look at property from a shipper standpoint, a broker standpoint, it's fucking beautiful. It's great. You know what I mean? It's fucking great. I saw the guy the other day talking about, he's got 2 houses. He takes 40% out of every load. He's just happier than a pig in shit. You know what I mean? He's a fucking broker. Happier than a pig in shit. Meanwhile, I got guys out here that can't put tires on their truck. So.
Well, it looks like Caitlin has gotten wrapped up with something, so she's not going to make it back right now. So we'll just continue on with our regularly scheduled broadcast.
Mike, as always, it's great to have you on with us.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you. And yes, you will see more of me on live coming up here.
I told him that you're not allowed to come out and play very often.
We appreciate that, man. You're a very important part of NOOA.
I get my sleep when I can.
I was talking to Jennifer about an issue that came up with another individual that lost he got railed by I forget the Nolan Transportation, I believe it is. And, that's another example of the rampant fraud in this business. They got away with almost $100,000 of his money, and he has no recourse. Like the FMCSA, they're giving him the circle jerk too. You know what I mean? And this is a congressional issue. Like, this is an issue where it's going to take an act of Congress to correct it. When over the years, over the decades, this has become a problem. But when the ICC was done away with, any type of hope of getting any help from the government if someone didn't pay you, or if you were short paid, or if you were wronged in any way, that just went right out the window. You know what I mean? So in order to correct this, it's going to take an act of Congress. Which is bad news for all of these people who have an issue with the government and don't want to get the government involved. And why do we need to get the government? The government doesn't help and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is going to take an act. They're going to have to correct the fuck ups this is their fuck up to correct. So this is going to take an act of Congress. The FMCSA is either going to have to be repaired or replaced, or we're going to need an SRO. So if the FMCSA is good, if if Congress is going to allow the FMCSA to continue to operate the way that it's operating and just focus on safety, then we're going to need another organization that's going to focus on financial crimes in the supply chain. That's just the way it's going to have to be, because right now there is none. You can do a load right now, and a broker could stick his middle finger in your face and take him to court.
The good news is that as an association, we've done a very good job at being able to flip the bird right back to the brokers and get these guys paid. And, I know that we're going to be able to continue doing that. There is precedent on our side from a legal standpoint that allows us to do that. And citing that precedent is usually what allows us to be successful in those regards. I mean, God only knows how many times I've had to sit there and point out double pay liability cases to brokers to show, hey, you either indemnify your client or I'm going after your client. Take your pick.
Right. Right.
And they always side back with, okay, we'll take care of the carrier. Okay, it's not perfect. It's not the best system in the world, but at least the carriers are able to get the money they need to be able to survive, to live to fight another day. And I have to live with that because that's the best victory we can afford to get for these guys. I wish I could get them when they're promised $1 million for a $2,000 load. I wish I could get them $1 million. But, in the grand scheme of things, as long as their costs are covered, they can live to fight another day. And that's what we need to do. We have to keep looking. And folks, please contact your Congress members. You need to make sure that you get your voices heard by your Congress members as often as possible on these issues in order to generate more of a concern among those who really just don't give a shit.
Right. And, Jennifer deals with that on a daily basis too. And, it's sad that there should be a quick arbitration process or a fast track process. It's just total disregard and disrespect for small business. It's like, can you imagine? I mean, I talk to people all the time. I remember I had a conversation with this woman down in Florida who was a carrier, and she was in this business for a while, and she got stung for like $5,000 from a broker. And she called me up and said, what can I do? And there was nothing she could do. And she was like, but I already paid the drivers. I already paid the fuel. I already paid all of the expenses to get this done. And now the factoring company just sucked $5,000 out of my bank account. What can I do? There's nothing.
So I'm actually having. Let me give you the. Let me give you the bomb drop on this one. So let's say I have somebody that was interested in placing debt with me, concrete debt, $160,000, $160,000. Okay, that they had hauled, and their factoring company started charging them back at $1,000 a week to recover this $160,000 from them. Now she wanted to place it with us to help recover that money, but she told the factoring company if they're able to recover it. Like if they recover the, $160,000 and then they get their percentage, I'm going to need you to pay that $20,000 to that collections agency, or let it come out of the amount of these invoices, and then you can still charge me $1,000 a week to recover your $20,000. But I mean, otherwise I'm going under because I can't afford $160,000, and at $1,000 a week, it's going to take 160 weeks to recover this. I'm going to be indebted to you for like the rest of my life. I'll never make any money. I can't do this. And the factoring company said, absolutely not. We won't take a loss. We won't pay that. We won't pay that collections agency. We don't want to work with the collections agency. We don't want to work with an attorney, nothing. But they're not doing anything to help her get her money either. So I said, that's one thing about factoring companies is you pay them to take care of your money. They should be helping you to track your money down when you're not getting paid. And if they're not helping you, they should allow you to be able to go to a collections agency or to an attorney to get paid, even if some of that has to come out of the portion of what they recover. But look how much they would be recovering. If I were able to recover that $160,000, at least that's 160, $140,000 that they didn't have to go get then. I mean, you would think they would be excited about that, but no. She's like, I don't have $20,000 to pay these people if they're able to recover this. I mean, because that was money that was paid out to us throughout the last 6 months or whatever. And so now she can't place it with us because her factoring company won't help pay our fee if we're able to recover it, and won't accept less than. And our factoring company won't give a release. So if we do get paid, they will get paid for the loads, not us. Normally, at the collections agency, we would take in the money, we would take our percentage out and forward the rest on to the client. But in the case when you have a factoring company that won't give a release, or whatever, they won't do that. They want to pay it directly to the factoring company. And normally we say okay, and then we'll offset with another invoice that comes in house, or they'll go ahead and pay our the $300 or $400, whatever it is for each invoice. But when you owed $160,000, to try to drop $20,000 on the recovery of that money, they don't have it. So they're between a rock and a hard place. They can't get any assistance to recover their invoices, and their factoring company won't help them, and they won't give them a release, and they won't pay us, and they don't want to work with anybody. So she's gonna probably have to file bankruptcy and close her whole trucking company down because she can't because she cannot recover that money from any means or fashion because of her factory.
I wish I knew
Yeah.
what to say in situations like that. It's bloody criminal, and it really makes you feel for people who have gone through these things. I mean, I went through hell when I lost my trucking company, and I'm still dealing with the backlash from that. But I also know that the mistakes from my company were mine, and I owned it. When people don't do something wrong, when they've done everything the right way, they followed the regulations, they followed all the rules, they followed the laws, and they still get screwed, it makes you wonder why the hell we push ourselves day in and day out going through this. It just drives me insane.
Now, just to blow the whistle on that factoring company, that's RTS. RTS does not ever give us a release. They won't ever release to us. They want to hold the notice of assignment. I understand it protects their UCC and make sure they get paid or whatever. But I'm willing to put them on copy to all of my communications, so they know what's being recovered for what invoices and when to expect it, so that they're not in the dark on any of this. But I would think they wouldn't want to take 3 years to recover their money. I would think they want their money recovered in the next 3 months for the most part, and then just have to get the 20,000 back from her over the course of the next half a year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that really makes more sense to me.
You guys are definitely on point with what you're saying, and we're working very hard behind the scenes to address all of these issues from an organizational standpoint and from a regulatory standpoint. I personally want to thank all of you for all the hard work, Jennifer, John, Caitlin, and everyone at the association for everything that you do. I know people out there probably don't realize, but these people are working diligently every day to help all of you with all of your issues, and it's overwhelming. It really is. You have no idea. It is overwhelming, and just bear with us. We're just getting started, and hopefully things will be changing soon. We are making ground. I'm not going to lie there. We are making ground, and we are getting the message to where it needs to get to. But unfortunately, or fortunately, the way that our government works is you need consensus, and you need people to get behind change, and that's where everyone comes in. It can't just be one or two or five people. It has to be thousands. And once that happens, then you'll see change. I do have another question. Are you guys streaming in 1080p or 720? Because your picture looks much better than mine. Is this the 1080p? 720?
Oh.
I think so. I mean, I know I look better because I got a new camera.
Yeah, I mean, your picture looks excellent. Mine looks very hazy and crappy. Do you
Kind of like
guys
your
have?
speaker.
Yeah.
I had to hide it in the back there, but your picture looks excellent, and you guys are doing a great job. I'm sorry, I gotta go. I thank you so much for giving me the floor. I have a conference call to get on. I'm 3 minutes late. And,
Yep, I'll be there
thank
in just a minute, Mike.
Yeah, you can take my
So
place, and
excited.
I'll come.
No.
Yeah, me too. Thank you all. Happy New Year.
All
Looking
right, Mike.
forward to it. Thank you.
All right, so here we are at the top of the hour. We'll go around the
Thanks,
room and
Mike.
get some last voices here. Caitlin, now that you're back, do you have anything you want to talk about or say or add to the?
Yeah, it's time for a nap.
It is time for a nap.
Amen.
I'm gonna go to this other meeting, so I
I
can
think
get
I'm
in the
going to bed
nap.
early tonight.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I just got another phone call. I gotta get on this other conference call with
You
the
take care
alliance.
of that.
So,
I'll close down the show because I
okay.
had a couple more
All
things
right.
I need to get.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Thanks, Jen. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, Kate, it never ends. I just got a nice little email. Bye, Jen. Kate, I just got a wonderful little email from RMIS. Looks like they are now going full live beginning this Wednesday with their enhanced security measures. And this is on behalf of Truck Stop, who owns. I'm sorry, Truck Stop, who owns RMIS. So when you are going to be doing a setup through RMIS for the first time under the new security procedures, you will have to have the owner of the company be on their phone while the dispatcher is on their computer while they go through a series of verifications, including the owner of the company scanning a copy of their driver's license and then taking a selfie to make sure that the images are a match in order to be able to set up your multi-factor authentication. And again, this just came out from Truck Stop in the last couple of minutes that they are full launch effective this Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and put out a video tomorrow on my YouTube channel, which talks about this. I've got a couple of screenshots from the one time that I've had to do this already with one of the brokers who were a pilot for this security program. So I'll try to get that information out as best I can, as quick as I can. Dispatchers who are out there, get ready for this. This is coming, and we're not going to be able to avoid it much longer.
You know what?
Have you had to deal with that one yet?
Happen.
Oh, I'm cool with it too. Anything that helps improve security to prevent brokers who shouldn't be in there from posting loads and prevent carriers from booking loads who shouldn't be booking loads, I'm all for it. RMIS, I thought, has always had a fairly decent program. It's because of RMIS that I've detected whenever any of my carriers have had their authority stolen in the past.
Yeah, me too.
And it's only because they send out that email identifying change in personnel. When they send out that contact change notification right away, that's when I go and I check my carrier's safer report, see if there's a brand new MCS 150 that's been filed or something along those lines to tell me whether or not the authority has been hijacked. And if it has, I've got a playbook for getting that fixed. And I actually have that playbook available on my YouTube channel as well. So for those of you who are interested in that, go ahead and check that out. That YouTube channel also includes past episodes of this show, so you can hear about all the fun stuff that we've talked about then too.
That
Have
sounds
you
fun.
done that new setup program yet at all?
No, I haven't. I have actually. I don't even think I've had to do an RMIS setup in I don't know, hell, a couple weeks, maybe a week.
Damn, I'm doing them almost daily. Usually multiple times a day.
Yeah, well, you have like a bunch more trucks than I do, so.
Well, I've also got a lot of newer carriers too, and I think that's the reason why. You deal a lot with the 53-foot dry vans, flatbeds, hot shots. The majority of my carriers are box trucks, and we all know box trucks are typically the new kids on the block in this industry.
Mhm.
But they're still in this industry, and they still have to play by the same rules that the 53s have to play by. So, oh yeah, no, I'm finding myself doing it all the time. I've got a new carrier that I just started 2 days ago. I'm sorry, back on Friday, and they're coming off of a huge contract that they've been on. The contract is now ended, so now they're operating off the spot market, and they're bringing me in. Even though they've been around for 3 years, I did what 6 loads for them so far, and every single one of them required a setup. I mean, it's
Yeah,
nature of the beast.
yeah, no kidding. It's stressful. I had to
It is.
I had to do a setup for TA services today, and oh my god, that was probably the worst one I've ever done.
Why was TA services hard?
Well, it's not hard, it's just a lot of shit to go through. So first of all, they use the highway portal, which I don't like.
Oh, hate highway. Gotta hate highway.
Yeah, I already don't like that. I don't feel like anybody should have to give their ELD credentials in order to get set up. I just feel like that's bullshit. But
I have to say, okay, and please, folks, mark my words. I have gone through the entire highway setup program, and I have stopped at the point where it wants you to log into your ELD on their site, and it still goes through
I've done
every
that one
single
time. That's crazy. I've done it one time, and I was like, "Wow, that's weird." I didn't have to do the ELD login, but I think it was one time because I didn't have the person's stuff, so I'm just like, I'm not gonna do it and see what happens. And I didn't.
And it still goes through. It's so folks, if you're worried about giving away your personal information by plugging in your admin username and password into Highway to activate your ELD, two things. One, they're not recording it. All they're trying to do is establish a connection. Number two, you don't need it. I never do it, and I'm always successful in getting the setup completed. So don't sweat it. Okay, highway is not all that bad. Once you get your basic information in, just like RMIS or My Carrier packets, once you have the basic information in, it's about a dozen clicks saying yes, continue, yes, continue, yes, continue, and you're done. Okay, it's not that bad. But I still hate highway. Well, they have some kind of evaluation score, internal brokers only, and I've not seen this yet. And they are able to identify negative reports about carriers in their program that a carrier running a setup is not going to see. So, however they get their information for screening, until that's publicly known, then I don't trust it. I really don't. I don't know if they're trying to draw from Carrier 411 or they're trying to draw from whatever source. But until we know the source, I don't trust it very much.
I really can't wait until
It's kind of like the Carrier Assure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Carrier 411. It needs to die. It needs to die. And I'm really hoping, and you're hearing it now here publicly, folks, Carrier OK is the way that this industry needs to go. And if you're not familiar with Carrier OK, look it up, carrier-ok.com. It's not just for brokers. It's for carriers too. And that door swings both ways when it comes to filing reports. So keep that in mind. But they do screen for revenge reports and they won't let revenge reports get posted. So keep that in mind, okay? Their AI is actually really good at controlling that. Sorry. Kate, you got anything else? We're coming up at 1 hour here, so we need to start wrapping this up. Any final thoughts?
Nope, I guess not.
Well, want to wish everyone a happy new year. Hope this year is certainly more profitable than last year. I think we've all had a hell of a time last year. I have high hopes. I'm not counting on anything, but I still have high hopes. And one thing is for certain: you're going to have both myself, Kate, and even Jennifer around to help you out when you have issues come up. So don't be afraid to contact us if you need us. Join NOOA at tnooa.com, and we're here to help whenever you need us.
And all they have to do is go on the website and find our information, reach out. We'll look at your member status, or whatever the case may be, and we can go from there. You don't have to fight to get a hold of us. It's actually pretty easy. Just roll up to the website and all of our stuff is there.
The more information you can give us about your situation when you contact us, the easier it's going to be for us to help you. So don't hold back. I know a lot of guys who are really prideful about, hey, I got screwed over, but I really don't want people to know. You know what? I've been screwed over I don't know how many times. Let us know. We can't help you if we don't know that you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, for Kate, Jen, and myself, and for the whole of the association, wish you all the very best. Wish you a happy new year. And we will see you again next week at our regularly scheduled time, 5 p.m. Central Time, every Monday.
Yes.
All take care now. See you around.